We believe health is the foundation that unlocks freedom. The freedom to live fully, to be an asset and not a burden, and to chase what truly matters. Through daily practices and proven frameworks, we are here to help you build deep health, find lasting peace, and live with your heart on fire. Welcome to the chase. Hello and welcome back to the show. Hello, Ben. How the heck are you?
Hello, Patrick. I'm doing great.
I like that new blue shirt with the new logo, CTNE.
The times are changing.
Formerly CFNE, now CTNE. Yep. Looking good. Good to see you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We've got some questions from our Chase Club members. This time around, our Chase Club is our premium membership. We get ad-free episodes plus bonus content. If you want to learn more about that, chasingexcellence.email. The link is in the show notes. Come on over, join us. One of the things we're going to try to do, and we're going to continue to try to do, is answer Chase Club members' questions in episodes here. So that's what we've got. We've got 4 questions, 3 training questions, and a mindset question in there just for fun. Ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. First one's from Kyle. I've spent the past 16 years doing CrossFit about 3 times a week. I'm now 50 and have recently increased to 4 to 5 times a week. The reason I was able to make this change is because I learned from your podcast that consistency is key and that it's okay to take it easy some days. The last point is critical to ensure I don't skip because I'm intimidated by the workout or because my body needs more recovery time. My coach knows my abilities, the weights I use, how I scale certain movements, etc., but he doesn't know which days are my show up and recover days. It feels awkward to constantly, about once a week, be saying that I'm scaling back today. I'd love your input on this. Maybe I just need to sit down with him and explain my plan, but I'm not sure he's that interested. I've been at this gym for about 5 years, but nobody has ever asked about my goals. P.S. Your podcast has made me into a better and healthier person, a better parent, and a better work colleague. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kyle.
Love that. Okay, so first off, let's just kind of address the crux of what's causing the issue, or like, or what Kyle's realized, which I love through this podcast. Thanks, Kyle. That consistency matters, and you know it's embedded right into the old school Greg Glassman mantra. You know, it's mechanics, like work on moving really, really well. And then consistency. It's about doing this 4, 5, 6 days a week. Then and only then intensity. And I think people just flip this on its head way too fast because they think it's about 4 time. It's about as many reps as possible. It's like, and that's just not the case. There is an inverse relationship between intensity and volume, meaning that the more volume you do, you have to lower intensity. And remember that, again, it's like the beginning of the prescription is train 5 or 6 days a week. That's before intensity. It's like way before, actually. Yeah. We're human beings. We're built to move. So we got Cheryl Kelly Starrett for that. But we need to be able to move our bodies. And what we say is move our bodies, not just 10,000 steps, not just gardening, not just even like yoga. We want to train with intention. So we want to train this way. That doesn't mean max effort. And if you can't do this 4, 5, 6 days a week, then you're going to, because you're beat up or burnt out, we by definition are missing the stimulus. We're going too hard. There's a study I just came across, which I want to kind of share this, which is really kind of highlights this really well. This is from this really smart dude that's been putting out a lot of stuff, Hashem Al-Gihala. I'm totally butchering that.
Spell that last name.
Well, it's Hashim dot. This is his handle.
Okay, got it.
ALGHAILI. Okay. And by the way, Heather, my wife, is the one that passed this along to me. And she's like, why isn't this the news? Because everything is so newsworthy. It is it's the most amazing stuff, yet you never hear about this stuff. And it's all, we think like news is all negative and doomsday and all the rest. And the stuff that this guy's putting out is ridiculous. It's amazing. So anyway, he put out a new study has shown that regular exercise can reverse, that's a big one, reverse damage caused by a sedentary lifestyle and an aging heart, provided it begins before the age of 65. Researchers found that exercising 4 to 5 times a week significantly improved heart function, increasing oxygen intake 18%, and enhancing the heart's elasticity by 25%. Those are not small numbers at all. Remember, smoking, not smoking is like a 40% difference, 41 to be exact. This regimen, tested over 2 years, included moderate intensity exercises, moderate intensity sessions, high intensity intervals, and strength training. Mm-hmm. I'll say it again. Like, the reason that this protocol worked is because it involved moderate intensity, high intensity intervals, and strength training. Those who followed this structured routine experienced significant cardiovascular improvements compared to a control group engaged in yoga. This is where it's like, we need to be able to kind of like understand that this is a protocol for a reason. This is the reason we espouse this. So, Getting back to Kyle's point, how do you talk to your coach who has never asked you what your goals are, and it seems like they don't really understand when you're taking the back off day? The first part about that is, and this is going to sound maybe kind of a little weird to maybe Kyle, is in our space, the way that we train, assuming you're doing this kind of like CrossFit style, CompTrain style thing, it's not all. I'll go back to the Glassman thing again, which is, I don't really need to know your goals, because this type of training is going to improve your goals regardless of what you're going for. So I just share that to say, like, I don't think it's that weird that your coach hasn't asked you your goals. I would like to know what your goals are if you were mine, but I don't think it's out of left field, right? It's not like it means that they're a bad coach. Now, the real part of the question is talking to them about backing off. I would, if your coach is a mature coach enough and they understand training, prescription, and physiology enough, and you go up to them and say, hey, I'm really trying to ramp up from 3 to 4 or 5 days a week because I really think that's going to benefit me a lot. I'm going to purposely take half of those days as back off days. What are your thoughts on that? Mm-hmm. And let them kind of respond. And if they're like, that's ridiculous, you should be like throwing down every single time. They call it an AMRAP for a reason. It's like, then that might be a sign to me that you're not in the right place. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I would just let them know that truly you're going to try to take a couple days at not full max intensity. And honestly, the coach probably isn't even going to notice when you back off from 90% to 80%. That's now we're in that moderate to high, but they will notice when you go back towards your 50 and 65%. And those are the days you go, hey, I'm here just to move today. I'm still going to do the class. I'm still going to do the workout. I had a workout like this last week where the class was doing bike and burpee box jumps, and I did bike and Spider-Man.
Yep.
I did my buy-in bike, and the workout was every 2 minutes you went a 500-meter bike, and in the remaining part of the 2 minutes, you did as many burpee box jumps as you could. There was a 30-second break, and we rinse, wash, repeated that for like 7 times. And during whenever else is doing burpee box jumps, I stretched.
Yeah.
And 3 other people in the class did the same thing with me. And it was just like, you have to be able to give people permission to be able to get to what the prescription actually is. You were not supposed to throw down as hard as we possibly can every single day, particularly not as, Kyle, who's been doing this for almost 2 decades.
Love that. I think one of my favorite notes from, and I don't even remember where I heard it, maybe I heard it from you, is just the idea that the goal of the gym, the goal of the coach is really to get them back there tomorrow. And anything that gets in the way of that is, at least you need to question it, right? And I think that as athletes, as members of gyms, we also have to turn that around and say, okay, what do I need to do to be able to make sure that I come back tomorrow if tomorrow's supposed to be a training day, right? Like taking that ownership as well and making that be a bit of a two-way conversation about like, hey, I just really want to make sure in his case, like Monday through Friday, I want to be here every single day. And so what do I need to do? Asking himself, what do I need to do to ensure that happens? And then what do I need to communicate with my coach to ensure that happens as well?
Yeah, I love that. It's a little bit, we have to give ourselves, and as coaches, we should be giving our athletes permission. Like literally give yourself permission to not, this is very unique to our space.
Yep. Totally. Yes.
But permission not to work hard. It's the exact opposite that we have to do if you're in the Globo Gym where people are on a recumbent bike reading People magazine.
Yep.
That's probably a throwback to when I started this thing. Now they're scrolling through their feed.
Reading a magazine.
Yeah. Right. That's what it used to
Well,
be.
it says it says a lot about me that I didn't even think twice about that.
Right.
But you're right. Nobody's reading.
But that's what it used to be. It's like we got to get these people to work hard, and like we've done that. Like they're coming to the gym. These people that were there, that's not the issue.
Yep.
And this isn't a matter of just like the anti-high performer mantra or anything else. It's like, it's honestly, no, what we're trying to do is begin with the end in mind. What is the end? Health, longevity, vitality, performance. What's going to get us there? Again, the first step is 5 or 6 days a week. Like we got to get that, like get to 5 days. To get to 5 days, a couple days a week are going to be at lower intensity. That's just what it's going to be.
Yep.
So we got to kind of allow ourselves permission, and I think it's a big word. Give yourselves permission to back off to be able to ramp up.
Yeah.
We're putting too much focus on the wrong levers.
All right. Thank you, Kyle. Hope that was helpful. Next question is from Trish. How do you keep your mindset positive when you spend your day working in a toxic environment? I'm a teacher and I love my job, but I work with very toxic people. As hard as I try to avoid the drama and stress of it all, it always sneaks back in. I take my breaks in my car. I avoid the staff room, etc. I work in a classroom that has multiple adults, so I can't seem to get away from the negativity and the drama. Also, I find it hard to stay disciplined with my workout and nutrition routine when others are constantly bringing in snack foods or ordering out or poking fun at my healthy lifestyle, thinking I'm crazy for training before work in the morning. I try to surround myself with like-minded people outside of work, but I can't help but feel so discouraged every time I walk into my classroom.
Yeah. So Trish, the first thing is I just want to acknowledge how real and hard that is. You're doing something incredibly important, teaching, but at the same time, you're carrying the weight of a toxic environment that you didn't create. I mean, that's a heavy burden. So just to start off, it's okay to feel discouraged by this. It doesn't mean you're weak or that you're doing it wrong. It means that you're human. But there's an opportunity here, and you can't always control the environment. And you've listened to this podcast, so you probably know what's coming next, but you can't control the environment, but you can control how you interact with it. And I actually gave this talk to my kids this morning as they were getting on the bus about being the thermostat versus the thermometer. Mm-hmm. And the thermometer, whatever the environment is, the environment changes the thermometer. If it's hot, the mercury in the thermometer goes up. If it's cold, the mercury in the thermometer goes down. Whereas the thermostat is the one that tries to change the environment. Now, I'm not saying go and change your school and change it from its toxic, gossip-ridden place to one of hope, positivity, and health. In fact, I would actually
do that though, if you can.
Well, if you can, but actually, I would start in a different approach, which is to recognize that a really helpful first approach is to separate what's yours from what's theirs. Toxicity thrives when we internalize it, and it can trick us into thinking that we're actually a part of the mess when we're actually just standing near it. You don't have to think of it as yours. You don't have to pick it up. You can just kind of like weave your way through it. Now, that's a little bit like putting up blinders, putting up blockers, and that's actually truly what I would encourage you to do. Is the gossip, the negativity, the judgment that they're bringing, that's their burden. That's what they're carrying. It's not yours, and you don't have to pick that up. You can see it, you can acknowledge it, but you can also leave it right where it is. It's a little bit as this like when you're walking in to your classroom, when you're walking into your school. It's today I bring the energy, I don't absorb theirs. You say something like just leave it. And this isn't unique to Trish or school teachers. This is unique to if you've watched the Taylor Swift documentary, right? The amount of negativity that was hurled at her as she's coming up to the point where she's, before going on stage in these huge Masters concerts, she's just saying to herself, There's nobody here that hates me. There's nobody here that hates me. There's nobody here. Like, she's trying to block it out. She's trying to, like, I don't need to pick up all the negativity that's being thrown around. These athletes, I just watched The Clubhouse, and it's a story of the last year's Red Sox. Awesome documentary. Jared Duran, the best player, has a hard time blocking out the noise. He picks up what they're throwing out. We want to be able to do is be that high performer in a toxic environment, which is like, yes, some schools, it's your coworkers. Other places, it's being you can almost think of yourself as a high level athlete in a visiting stadium. Like you're going to get it. You got to kind of like put on your armor before you walk in. So the other part is like, maybe like there's a couple pieces to here, but like realizing that what you're doing is courageous. Like what you're doing is the hard thing, and what you're doing is going to be more lonely. Like when you are the one working out in the morning, when you are bringing the healthy food, when you are not joining in the gossip and the negativity, you're going to be looked at as the outcast, as the deviant. Well, that's part of the price. It's a little bit of like, yeah, now you can like use that a little bit of as your identity. It's like, I'm the healthy deviant. I am the one doing things different. And the old saying is like, it's lonelier at the top. And to me, the last thing I would say about this is like, just have a little bit of compassion for them. A lot of people, it's not their own doing. They're not doing this intentionally. It's just the environment that they were raised in, the environment that they were brought up in, the values that they were bestowed upon them. You have had either the higher level awareness, or you were lucky enough to be brought up in a different environment or be exposed to different things that changed your views on what's important, namely like health and positivity. If they had been exposed to the same things you were, they probably would be in the same place. So they haven't. So instead of kind of looking like, oh, damn them, like if you have a little bit of compassion for them and realize that they just haven't had the same exposure, opportunities, upbringing that you have, it can kind of bring another angle to what you're dealing with each time, which is not necessarily you against them. You're all trying to do the same thing. You just have a little bit of a head start in life on this.
Yeah. I like that perspective. I think I just add one thing, and you touched on it a little bit, but Trish says she basically avoids everybody, right? She takes a break in her car. She avoids the teacher's room, etc. And I think that's part of the problem. I think it's easy to separate yourself thinking that you're protecting yourself when actually the separation is doing more harm than good. And it's easy for me to say, but I would have to imagine, Trish, that there is somebody in that school who is like you. And it might be your responsibility, and maybe this is where your responsibility begins and ends. It might be your responsibility to find that person and to have one person to eat lunch with, to have one person to talk to have one person to not need to avoid everybody else, or to maybe avoid everybody else with. And so I think that's the one thing I'm picking up from the question, which is, yeah, it is really easy to say all those people, they don't understand and they're wrong and they're bringing me down. But I don't know that solves the problem unless you want to leave your job. And you said right at the top that you love your job. So it doesn't strike me from your question that it's hey, this is a really negative environment and I'm considering leaving because of it. This feels like hey, this is a really negative environment and I don't know how to make it better. And to me, the way to make it better is to recognize that there are probably other people like you, and it will be worth the effort to actually find them. Yeah, even if it's one person, even if it's two people.
Yeah, and even if it's like that, that's hard. I get that. Totally. I love that. It's really hard. But even just like you continuing to model the behaviors, it's like you're setting a standard that while they might on the outside make fun of or poke light at or push you and make you feel like you're an outsider, you're modeling something higher. Yep. You're modeling the higher standard that I promise you they're trying to get to.
Yep. That's why they're poking fun at you.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
The drama, the gossip, the judgment that they're laying on you, those are symptoms.
Totally.
There's symptoms of people that are hurting in other ways, afraid, they're insecure,
unsure, confused,
right, exactly.
lost. Yep. Feel like a failure themselves, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So you're not the crazy one. You're not alone. You're doing it with us, and you're not done. Go get it.
Love that. Let's pause to say thanks to a few sponsors, and we'll be right back to the conversation. We're sponsored this time around by Skims, creators of the most comfortable, stylish men's underwear that's getting rave reviews everywhere. Transform your dude's underwear drawer by visiting skims.com, and remember to select podcast in the survey after your order and find our show in the dropdown. Let's talk about the perfect gift for the man in your life, because we all know most guys won't upgrade their underwear until someone does it for them. God, I wish that wasn't true, but it is. Skims has created something truly special with the men's collection, and as the official underwear partner of the NBA, they know a thing or two about what guys need. Their boxer briefs are designed with incredible attention to detail, no bunching, no riding, just pure comfort that lasts all day. The quality is exceptional, the fit is perfect, and trust me, he will thank you for this upgrade. Make his day by visiting skims.com, and don't forget to select podcast in the survey after your order to let them know that we sent you. We're sponsored by Element, the electrolyte drink mix trusted by athletes, trainers, and active human beings worldwide. Check out drinkelement.com/excellence to get your free sample pack with any of your orders. When you're pushing your limits, whether in the gym, on the trail, or during the workday, proper hydration is crucial. But the sports drinks you'll find nearly everywhere are loaded with sugar and artificial ingredients you do not need. Element is different though. It gives you all the electrolytes without any of the junk, helping you stay hydrated and performing at your best. Everyone from Stanford neuroscientists to functional nutritionists are Element advocates, and after you give it a try, you will be as well. Get your free Element sample pack at drinkelement.com/excellence with any purchase. It's a great way to try all of their flavors or share them with a salty friend. Again, drinkelement.com/excellence. We're brought to you by the Defender, the modern adventurer's vehicle that seamlessly blends rugged capability with cutting-edge technology. Visit LandRoverUSA.com to explore the full Defender lineup and find your perfect match. Imagine having eyes everywhere, above, below, and all around your vehicle. That's exactly what you get with the Defender's revolutionary 3D surround cameras and clear sight ground view technology, letting you see underneath your vehicle to navigate any obstacle with confidence. The next generation Pivi Pro infotainment system transforms every single journey, whether you're exploring the city or venturing off the beaten path. With three distinct models, the nimble Defender 90, the versatile 110, and the spacious 130 with seating for up to 8 people, there's a Defender perfect for every explorer. Experience luxury appointments throughout, ensuring you adventure in absolute comfort. Head to LandRoverUSA.com to explore the full Defender lineup and discover your next adventure companion. Okay, now let's get back to the show. Next question is from David. How would you approach starting with the training plan that you guys have mentioned before, with someone that starts literally from scratch, 10 years without sport? How do you go about it? What is the role of developing a habit here, and how would you do this? So the training plan obviously is the training protocol that we've laid out in a number of episodes.
Okay, just so to recap what that is, it's basically
kind of hit on it in the first question today.
Yeah, but it's I would say that when David's saying like, okay, I'm going from zero, from the couch to CompTrain, right? That. What would that look like? Well, what is CompTrain? CompTrain is 5-3-1. It's 5 days of conditioning through full ranges of motion at intentional levels of intensity. That's what we hit it on in the first one.
Yep.
What are those intensity levels? Gym teacher speak. It's sometimes we go hard, sometimes we go really hard, and sometimes we go moderate, and sometimes we go easy. The exercise science talk is zone 2, lactic threshold, VO2 max, anaerobic capacity. So 5-3-1, 5 days a week of conditioning. The 3 is 3 days a week of strength training, mostly with the slow lifts, squat, dead, press. And then the 1 is 1 day long and slow.
Yep.
Just build up the cardio endurance. So how do we go from couch to CompTrain, couch to 5-3-1? I would just try to start with, it's a little bit the answer to the first one, the MVD, the minimum viable dose.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like just do the littlest bit you can each day, but try to stay with that protocol. So day one might be something like try to do a little bit of bench press. Maybe you work up to some, 3 sets of 10, right? That would be 3 sets of 10 bench press. There we have our strength stuff. And then what we're going to do is do a little kind of like on the minute type thing, maybe for 10 minutes, where 1 minute is push-ups and the next minute is air squats. Back and forth. That's it. And that would be day one. That's a really, really damn good day one. Day two, try to run for 2 minutes and then walk for a minute. Run for 2 minutes, walk for a minute. And this is probably our lactic threshold or VO2 max day, our anaerobic power day. And that's a really good day two. It's also going to give you a chance to recover a little bit muscularly from day one. Day three, we'll just try to pull something off the ground. So like if we have weights, some dumbbells, a kettlebell, a barbell, a heavy bag, whatever it is, kind of work on that deadlifting position. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to try and do a little bit of that kind of like back and forth, keeping it easy. But we're just going to try and keep it like, we're just going to try to keep this to about 15 to 30 minutes, but we're going to get used to moving every day. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do is just get into this kind of like, we are human beings. Like human beings, we're supposed to move. Like yep. It would be really weird to go back a couple thousand years ago and see a human being not move for a full day. Like you'd be like, okay, they're going to die. Like that's really what,
yeah.
Either they are a king, like the Xerxes, where it's like they're just like being served everything, grapes being dangled, someone else fanning them, or they're on their deathbed. And it's kind of the only two extremes. Otherwise, every human being moved kind of like almost all day.
Yep.
That's what we want to do. Now, we don't have the opportunity to move all day in modern society, so we have to do this in a little bit more punchier, shorter bouts. So we got to get a little bit more intentional with our time. So this would be the ramp up, is just slowly go from this kind of like 5-3-1. The 5 conditioning, keep it chill. Mm-hmm. If that ends up being like a little walk jog, totally cool. If that ends up being a little bit of like just picking up some dumbbells and walking around your yard, totally cool. If it ends up being like some sort of like hanging from a bar, totally cool. Like you basically like whatever works, make it work. But the idea is 5 days a week of just these bite sizes, anything from 5 to 15 minutes. 3 days a week, try to get in some strength. And then once a week, see if you can go just a little bit long. This would be like a really long walk.
Yep. Right?
Like, can you go for a walk for 30 minutes to an hour? That done, I'm telling you, that done for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, you'll feel so different. That done for 4, 5, 6 months, you won't even recognize yourself. Mm-hmm. You're a totally different human being after that.
Love that. All right, we're going to jump to the last question. This is from Liz. She says, could you share a training schedule for a weighted, unpartitioned Murph? And for a little bit of context, we did an episode maybe about a month ago. Hold on, I have the title of the podcast. It was, actually, you know what? It was called Be a Thermostat, Not a Thermometer.
Oh,
come back to what you just said. So in that episode, which we put out March 4th, you answered a question about how to plan for or train specifically for Murph. So I think this, Liz, is a little add-on question, which is, it seems that she wants to do it unpartitioned. So how would you have somebody start training for that particular version of that particular workout?
Yeah, so just as a reminder, Murph is run a mile, do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then run another mile. What Liz is asking is, how would I train for that, which we didn't answer in the previous one, if I was to do it with a weight vest and do it without breaking those up. So it's literally sequential order where you run a mile, Then you do the 100 pull-ups. When you're done with 100 pull-ups, you do the 200 push-ups. When you're done with 200 push-ups, 300 squats. Then you go out and run a mile, all with a weight vest. Guys are supposed to wear 20 pounds. Girls wear 14. It's flavors of the same thing I talked about before, which is you want this sort of like sport-specific thing where you're going to kind of work on, obviously, pull-ups, push-ups, squats, and running. Obviously, you also want to do it while wearing a vest. So that's kind of the similarity. Specific adaptation to impose demands is the strength conditioning principle. The overload principle is the other one we talked about. That also stands true. But here's what I would really do. It's just a totally different test. Mm-hmm. It's so slow. It's so sloggy. Like you're doing pull-ups and push-ups as singles.
Yeah.
You're doing one. You're doing one pull-up, dropping off the bar, resting. You're jumping up and doing one more pull-up, jumping off the bar. Same thing with the push-ups. It just gets so slow. So that's how you want to train it, is actually like with this, you want to build up the muscular endurance much more than the cardio aspect of it.
Yep.
So the way that you go about training for it this way is segment out each of them, and you do them each on different days. Now, the trick is you kind of flip-flop one of the order of them just to give your muscles a little more time of a break. Example would be on Monday, we're going to do the 100 pull-ups in a weight vest. On Tuesday, we're going to do 300 squats in a weight vest. On Wednesday, we're going to do 200 push-ups in a weight vest. On Thursday, you can take Thursday off. On Friday, you're going to do a quarter to a half Murph, right? I would say a half Murph. So that's run a half mile, 50, 100, 150, run a half mile. Now, that's all assuming that Liz is already really fit, really well-trained. I don't even recommend people do this at all. There's the single workout that gives people the rhabdo the most is unpartitioned Murph. It's the one that destroyed the games athletes. They did 116 degrees.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was unpartitioned. Yeah.
Yeah, that was unpartitioned. And next year they partitioned it.
Yep.
So I don't love it as a test just because it to me is more of a specific thing that people train for to get good at. Kind of like last year about this time, I trained to do 1,000 push-ups. And I got so much less fit doing that.
Yep, I don't remember that. I don't remember you telling us that.
I did it with Jeff Leard. He works for the Navy SEAL Foundation. We're just kind of like, and we did it together. It was cool to do, cool to be able to do. But I was less fit coming out of it than I was doing my normal training. And that's the same thing with this. It's like, it's a cool thing to do, but honestly, you're going to get a lot fitter by training to do Murph. Like, there's so much more power output with that than this slow, sloggy thing. So not to discourage people from going and doing something cool, challenging, hard, but just to say, like, understand what you're chasing, what we've said for forever.
Yeah. And if it is truly for Liz, fitness is something that we want to come back for again tomorrow, then maybe the unpartitioned Murph does not line up with that prescription as well as perhaps it looks.
Yeah. It's actually kind of, now that I say this, whenever I've trained for an event, I've always gotten less fit.
Yeah.
So we did an event at Blue Hills where we carried sandbags for like 12 hours. And I trained a lot for it because I was terrible at carrying a sandbag. But at the end of it, I was less fit because I stepped away from so much others. The program works when you do the 5-3-1. It's just like when you do that, it's the way that you create the well-rounded fitness. And when you step away to go chase something specific, it's that. It's like we can get really wooed by things that are really damn sexy, like, being able to do 1,000 push-ups in an hour. Like, look how cool that is. Like, whoa. Yeah, but for what?
Thank you very much for tuning into the show. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening or watching so you do not miss another episode. For more frameworks and daily practices, visit chasingexcellence.email. And don't forget to tap the link in the show notes for today's full listener guide, where we break down the key ideas and provide actionable steps to help you put them into practice. Until next time, keep building health, finding freedom, and living with your heart on fire.